Connolly. I started making these videos for my 5th grade students, and then some parents asked me if I could cover a couple other math ideas for their own kids, and so then I just started trying to make as many math videos as possible to help as many kids learn at home during this crazy time, and hopefully they can be used in the future too. If you have any topics you want me to cover, connollymathathome@gmail.com. And today we're going to talk about some strategies that are taught to add 3-digit numbers, so 3-digit plus 3-digit. In previous videos I went over some strategies for 2-digit plus 2-digit. We're going to see some similar strategies as we did in previous grades, and then I'll continue on to 4th grade stuff where we actually learn the US Standard Algorithm for addition after refining these strategies. So let's get talking about how to solve these problems. So we have 349 plus 175, and one strategy that students will use is breaking both numbers apart by place value. So let's look at what we have here. We have 349, so we have 3 groups of 100, 4 groups of 10, and 9 ones. And we have 100, 1 group of 100. We have 7 in the tens place, which means 7 groups of 10. And we have a 5 in the ones place, which means 5 groups of 1. So what students will start to do, they don't have to write all of this out, but I wanted to make sure parents knew where it's coming from. We will combine numbers by place value. So adding by place value is the strategy. So we're going to take our 3 groups of 100 plus our 1 group of 100. So 300 plus 100 is 400. 40 plus our 70 over here. I know 40 plus 30 is 100. So I know 70 plus 30 is 100. So I know 70 plus 40 is 10 more than that. So I have 110. And then finally we will combine the numbers in the ones place to get 14. So from there, the students will add 400 plus 110 plus 14. And we see 400 plus 100, which is 500, plus 10 more is 510, plus 10 more is 520, plus 4 more is 524. 524. So the steps for breaking both numbers apart by place value is you add the hundreds, you add all of the tens, you add all of the ones, and then you combine your sums together to get the final answer. So that's one strategy for adding 3-digit plus 3-digit, but there's several more. We're going to look at when you only break one number apart next. So this was breaking both numbers apart. Next, we're going to look at just breaking one number apart. So when we think about breaking one number apart, we want to make less work for ourselves. So if we keep 349 whole and don't break it up, it's less work to add 175. So let's look at what it looks like if you keep one number whole and break the other number apart by place value. So I'm going to keep 349 whole. I'll also show this on the number line because students might be doing that on the number line in their classrooms. So we're going to start with 349. In order to add this number by place value, I have to identify what I have in each place. So I have 1 group of 100 here, so I'm going to add the hundreds, which is just 1 group of 100 here. What you're going to notice is that adding these numbers are super friendly. I like them a lot. The ones place and the tens place are not going to change because the digits in the ones place and tens place here are both 0. So when we think about what digit is changing when we add 100, it's the digit in the hundreds place, and the rest of it is going to stay the same. So we add 100 and we get to 449, and that's where we're at here. So from there, we are going to add the tens place. So we were at 449. We're going to add the 7 groups of 10. Again, another number that we like to work with. What it looks like on the number line is a jump of 70. And students might be thinking about this in their heads. They might be thinking 449 plus 60 is going to make 509. And then I have one more group of 10 than that. So I'm going to be at 519. And then the last step that we have to add, you see we've added 170 so far. You see we've added 170 so far here. We have 5 more to add. So we're going to take 519. We're going to think about adding 5 more so that we get to 524. If we were showing it on the number line, it would just be a little jump here, 524. And when you're looking for your answer on the number line, in this strategy, it is here. The addend that we started with 349 is here. We added 175. And so we're going to land on 524. So that's keeping one number whole and adding the other number by place. There are some other ways to keep one number whole and add on. I'm just going to show you one more. And you can think about other ways that we could split up these numbers too. So I'm going to keep 349 whole again. 349. And I was talking about how I really like working with those numbers that have the zeros in the tens place and the ones place because they're friendly. I call them Landspark numbers. They're easy to get to and they're easy to jump from. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and make one of those friendly numbers by just adding 1 to start. So I'm going to just do a little jump here and get to 350. There's my smiley face. So we got to 350. Now we can keep track of this. We have 174 more to add. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 100. But now I have these numbers that are super easy to work with. I don't have to worry about that 9. Oh, adding 9's the worst. So I just did 350 plus 100. I am going to then add my 70. This made it so much easier for me to add. The 70, I don't have to worry about that 9. It's not confusing. So I'm at 520. So what did I just do? 450 plus 70 is 520. And then I'm just going to pause because I want to think about what I've added so far. So far I've added 171. I need to add 175, so I'm just keeping track of my work. And now adding this 4 to my super friendly number is easy. It's efficient. I don't have to do a ton of brain work. And you can see the 175 that I added total. And you can see the number that we end up at. So there are several different ways to break up numbers when you're adding on. You have to think about what makes sense to you. Some people might have wanted to add 51 all at once so that they could have gotten to 400 and then gone from there. So it's up to you which friendly number you want to jump to, or if you like adding on by place value. Sometimes you think about what numbers you're given and what strategy might work best, and that's called being a flexible math thinker. And there's one more thing that I want to go over with you before we move on. So just to make sure we've covered everything, we have worked on breaking both numbers up by place value and adding by place value. The other thing that we did was we kept one number whole and added on by place value the other addend. We kept 349 whole and we added 175 in parts. And then the other thing that we did is we kept 349 whole and we thought about just adding 1 at first to make 350 to make an easier problem, and then we added on by place value. There's several other ways that you can do this. Math is flexible. We want to see all the different strategies if your child is coming up with something different, or if you are the child watching this and you come up with something different. You just want to make sure you're keeping track of all of the different parts and making sure that you have 349 and 175 combined. So the last strategy that we want to think about is making an easier problem. So when we make an easier problem, we are trying to make so that we can do the math in our head or using those friendly numbers. So let me show you how it works. So if I have 349, that's really close to 350. So I might change this to 350 plus 175. If I do that, and I want to add, and I know, and it's super easy for me to think about 300 plus 100 is 400, 50 plus 75 is 125, I get 525 here. So that might be something that's easy for us to think about because we know about adding groups of 25. So 50 plus 75 isn't that much work. But what you need to remember is that I added 1 here to make this number. So at the end, you have to remember to subtract it back out. Okay, so if you make an easier problem, remember at the end that you have to adjust back and keep track of what you subtracted back out. Okay, let's think about another way to make an easier problem. Sometimes we want to think about we can take some of one add and then give it to the other and balance out the equation. So I know 175 is 25 away from 200. So I'm going to make this say 200. I want to take the 20, I gave 25 of this over here. So I want to make this add-in 25 greater. And I want to make this add-in 25 less. So if I do that, I still have the same amount. So to review what happened here, I added 25 to this add-in because I wanted to work with 200. I took 25 away from that add-in because I just put it over here, and I keep my equation balanced, and I ended up with the same sum. So that's another way that you can make an easier problem. Again, there's several other ways we could do it too. So let's think about making this landmark number, which is a multiple of 10 or 100. So if I make this 400, because I want to work there, I'm adding 51 here. And students are practicing how to make groups of 100. They've been practicing how to make groups of 10 for their whole math career. So I'm going to take 51 away here. And I make 524 again. So, as you can see, there's so many fun ways to be flexible with addition. These are some strategies for adding 3-digit plus 3-digit. So you can break both numbers apart by place value and add the hundreds, then add the tens, then add the ones, and then combine. You can keep one number whole and add on by place value. You can keep one number whole and jump to those landmark numbers where you have the smiley face, the friendly numbers. And then the last thing we went over is making an easier problem. So if you're adjusting the numbers in the problem, just make sure that you're keeping track of what's going on and making up for it at the end if you have to. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed 3-digit plus 3-digit. I'll be doing the US Standard Algorithm soon too if you want to check that out. Bye.